Good evening, my dear friends, and welcome to part 4 of our series of sharings on the source of miracles rooted in the Lord's Prayer. I hope you can hear me and see me okay. And as we begin, we always light a candle for peace, especially peace in the Middle East, where there is so much unrest and so many of God's children are suffering needlessly. So we offer this light to the cosmic Christ, and we give thanks to God for sending messengers of love to those who are guilty of the heinous crimes committed against the children of God. As we come together, let us just for a moment reflect on our heart, in our heart, and embrace the divine who is speaking to us right now. And just for this moment, let us hold one another in unison as children of a loving God, regardless of the labels that we have representing the various religious families we belong to. They are labels. God sees the heart. So let us engage with our heart, the teacher, the gateway to our soul, the gateway to God. And I begin this evening with the Lord's Prayer, but not the conventional Lord's Prayer. Eternal Spirit, Earth Maker, Pain Bearer, Life Giver, Source of all that is and that shall be, Father and Mother of us all, loving God in whom is heaven. The hallowing of your name echo through the universe. The way of your justice be followed by the peoples of the world. Your heavenly will be done by all created beings. Your commonwealth of peace and freedom sustain our hope and come on earth. With the bread we need for today, feed us. In the hurts we absorb from one another, forgive us. In times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From trials too great to endure, spare us. From the grip of all that is evil, free us. For you reign in the glory of the power that is love, now and forever. Amen. Don't you think that's a beautiful prayer? Right. We begin this evening part 4. And Kathleen is sharing with us about the event of her son who was given up for dead, where the hospital were trying to tell her there is no point trusting. They even sent the hospital chaplain to try and prepare her for the worst. And this is what she says. Remember back in San Francisco on Mother's Day in 2001, when I went to Grace Cathedral to walk the labyrinths, when I was having faith-based issues surrounding my novel about Jesus, the life of Jesus with Mary Magdalena. And at the time of Shane's birth, I was writing about the miracles accredited to Jesus in the New Testament as a key element in that book. In those naive times, I was trying to write about those miracles as metaphors. Of course, we weren't really expected to believe that Jesus turned barrels of water into the finest wine. And we certainly weren't expected to accept that he was able to feed 5,000 people with 2 fish and a few loaves of bread. The raising of Lazarus was also symbolic. It represented spiritual rebirth, not a literal raising from the dead. Excuse me. Now 21st century intellect was really going to believe that such miracles were real, right? They were all meant to be allegorical, right? And then there was Shane. Shane's healing, his complete regeneration of the organs in his tiny body, was not a metaphor. It was not an allegory. It was a genuine physical miracle. And I believe that one of Shane's many gifts was in showing me the power of prayer is the source of miracles. He helped me to grasp that Jesus, as the greatest master of prayer in human history, certainly knew the source for such things. And in his great compassion and love for us, Jesus gifted us with the most foolproof formula for accessing that source. The formula, that access, is through the Lord's Prayer. The source is unlimited. The miracles never cease. So how do we use this book? Well, Kathleen says, caution. Committed use of this process can bring about happiness, abundance, and fulfillment beyond your wildest expectations. But do you believe that? I feel sorry for those who don't buy into the word prayer. I really do. Because prayer is a gift of the heart to the divine in recognition of love. The subtitle of this book claims that the prayer will transform your life. It's a hefty claim, but I believe it is also an honest one. It is, in fact, the intention of the Lord's Prayer and the practice that surrounds it. But the key to your success with this practice, wait for it, is commitment. What is commitment? Because there are times when I get up in the morning at 5 o'clock, or rather when I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be still and to pray, and to just sit there with a candle lit in the dark, sat in a nice cozy spot in the kitchen. I can see the candle flickering, and sometimes I nod off, I fall asleep, and then all of a sudden I'm woken up. So I'll go back to bed about 4:30, I'm woken up again at 5 o'clock. And since started reading this book, I have a confession to make. I've started saying the Lord's Prayer at 1 mile an hour instead of 100 miles an hour. And I've begun to reflect on each word and meditate on the word. And I'm finding a greater inner peace. And Jesus is asking you and me to be committed to this practice. But there are mornings when you'll wake up and you'll think, oh, I'll roll over and have a duvet day. That's not commitment. That's giving in. She says, I'm about to introduce you to the most powerful tool for changing your life and changing the world that you will likely ever encounter. However, there are few disclosures and guidelines that you need to be aware of here at the outset. There is a hard fact that we have to deal with up front. So here it is. There is no such thing as instant gratification in the world of the Spirit. Real changes requires real effort and dedication. This is not fast food spirituality, like so many of the techniques that have become popular recently. Those instant manifestation programs may make you feel good by satisfying your initial hunger, but they will ultimately leave you nutritionally deprived and bloated a few hours later, rather like a double cheeseburger and a hot apple turnover washed down with a 32-ounce bucket of soda. Would you like fries with your instant manifestation? The market is flooded these days with books and DVDs on the laws of attraction and how to manifest unlimited abundance. These programs promise instant gratification. If you can imagine that Ferrari in the driveway, you really feel that you can have it. Then you can. Ask, believe, receive. It's that simple. But is it really? Let's explore. Remember the old cliche that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Well, I'm willing to bet that quite a few of you reading this now and also read those manifestation books. I'm also willing to bet that there is no Ferrari in your driveway, even if you have asked and believed you likely didn't receive. And here is the simple reason. Those other techniques do not require any kind of accountability, and therefore they do not work. Period. They tell you that you can have whatever you want with no responsibility whatsoever and no consequences. And here is the simple reason those other techniques, they do not work. They tell you that you can have whatever you want with no responsibility and no consequences. But one great truth of the law of abundance is this: you cannot manifest something that is not in the best interest of the world around you. You do not live in a vacuum. You live on a planet with almost 7 billion other people. In order to manifest everything that you desire, you must learn how to live in harmony with the bigger picture and find your own place in God's plan as a member of the human family. I like that. Of course, becoming aligned with your own spiritual nature and destiny will likely change the specifics of what you truly desire, making it that much easier to attain. What we are reaching for here is something much deeper, something that endures in your life for years after you turn the last page. That is the essence of transformation. And in the following chapters, you will be asked to dig down into the deepest recesses of your heart and your soul. You will be asked to examine your beliefs about yourself, about God, and about your fellow human beings. Because it is in understanding the synergy of those relationships, the truth that we are all connected and that we must work together, that you will find dramatic results. It is not enough to know what you want. You must also know why you want it and what you will do once you have it. All those elements impact the world around you and therefore must be considered. The greater the commitment you are willing to make to this process, the faster and more dramatic your transformation will be. Saying the Lord's Prayer tonight is not going to make your life look entirely different when you wake up tomorrow, but using the prayer as a spiritual practice on a consistent basis in the way presented here will be more effective than any magic words, visualization techniques, or secret that you have ever read about before. Jesus said, "Ask and it is given. Knock and it is open to you." But those words have been misinterpreted and mangled by those who would peddle the concept of instant manifestation from the movie screen, television, and bookshelves. And while I assume that the many modern teachers of these laws of attraction and abundance are well-intentioned, the fact remains that what they are preaching simply doesn't work. Jesus was not giving us a genie in a lamp to jump out and grant our wildest desires in unlimited wishes, and for good reason. There are many fascinating fables from ancient and modern literature about humans who are given the opportunity to make free and unfettered wishes. In every single tale, the wisher comes to some ill. Calamity and misfortune follow them as a result of their wishes. Often the moral deals with greed, but the larger, if more subtle theme is isolation. When we wish for something without considering the whole of the world around us, we are not honoring our place as a member of a larger human family, God's family. And there, we shall finish the next two paragraphs and then reflect. Unfortunately, those who quote the ask and it is given verse for the purpose of instant manifestation rarely discuss it in the context that Jesus presented it. The passages that preceded contain extensive instructions for living a good and responsible life, so that we may then ask and subsequently receive as a reward for living in harmony with God's plan. There is extraordinarily good news here, even if it takes a little more work to find it than we may have originally been led to believe. Jesus was giving us the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe through protecting and perfecting our souls and answering to God. He did teach us that what we can manifest everything we need and want in our lives if we follow the rules set out for us. And he also gave us the tools to use for that purpose. The skeleton key that unlocks every door, wait for it, is the Lord's Prayer. Such beautiful words. Let us now, at this time of our talk, come with me into our monastery garden, where I've been working all day pruning, sweeping, clearing up, preparing the garden for autumn. I want you to sit with me, looking down at the pond, and see the waterfall and the water cascading gently, where there are fish in the pond, swimming around effortlessly. And as you sit here, you relax. You can hear the chimes gently making a sound with the light breeze, and the sun's rays are piercing your heart. And coming from the further end of the garden, from where Our Lady's statue is, you see the outline of a young man. He looks rugged, but he's walking towards you. And there's something about his essence and his energy. You can see his aura, a light flickering around him. And the atmosphere is changing. Everything in the garden becomes still. Even the birds stop chirping and singing. And you can almost sense each footstep as it walks on the blessed earth as he comes towards you. And you know it is the Lord, because he's already spoken to your heart. I am coming to sit with you, to talk with you, to pray with you, and empower you. Self-heal. And he sits next to you. And all of a sudden, an overwhelming sense of inner beauty ignites a passion within you to embrace divine seduction. You are overcome with feelings for the beloved of a spiritual nature, where you are thirsting for intimacy with your Lord, the beloved. And instead of sitting next to you, he chooses to sit straight in front of you, with his back to the waterfall. And you can see into his eyes. And they are piercing your soul with gentle love. He's inviting you to jettison any preconceived ideas about a quick route or a quick fix to karma. He's inviting you to Empty your mind of nonsense, of being stuck in old ways. He's inviting you to go free like the bird. He's inviting you to be still. And as he looks into your soul, through your eyes, the window of your soul, he sees a hunger, a yearning, a thirst for this spiritual stability. And he begins to share with you his prayer. And he says these words, and he invites you to say them after him. Our Father, Mother God, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give to us today our daily bread. Forgive us our trespass, for we forgive those whom we have wronged and who've wronged us. Lead us not astray, but deliver us from the forces of darkness. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And as soon as we finish this prayer, you observe the hands of Christ on your heart, melting your heart of all its woundedness, its sorrow, its chronic ache from self-inflicted pain, through stubbornness, maybe through self-inflicted wounds, through low self-esteem, low self-worth, not feeling good enough, exposure to too much religion, where you have lost the essence of trust. And you sense him releasing from your heart all that bitterness, that weariness and tiredness. And he places a seal on your heart. I am the Lord who provides for you. I am the Lord who will sustain you. I am your provider. Trust in my love. And as you open your eyes, you see the chair in front of you, and there is a card, but Jesus has gone. And the card says, call on me 24/7. Call on me 24/7. So relax now in the presence of all that is sacred to you. And remember, it takes a person of integrity who's willing to make this commitment. It is not an easy ride. There will be blips on the journey. But the one thing is for sure, and it is cast iron guaranteed, that the Christ is with us because he is within us.